cut off by the power running out on my old laptop. Keyboard is damaged on my good laptop, my good Mac. I need to repair it. Midway through it, I can't get someplace to be able to do it right. The tools, I just need to be able to do it, which sucks. So I'm using my old laptop, which means I'm lugging around 2 laptops right now, plus tools to fix and power supplies, because they're not the same, of course, and yeah, blah 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 blah. It's just heavier stuff that you have to lug, like on a 3 or 4 mile walk I had to do today when I fucked up the bus schedule. On Sunday, I'm just basically learning how to use the bus, or not learning how to use it, starting to use the bus system. It costs money, but just the walking is too much. Walking anywhere from a couple miles, like 10 miles a day or something, it's just too much to get where you need to get to in North Carolina somewhere. It's just crazy, but I had to do it. I had no choice tonight. Luckily, the rain held off for the most part on my walk home. I'm waiting for it to rain now, but I was cut off because there's no power left in my laptop. But I thought this was an important topic, so I'm going to keep going. Switch to my phone. I was talking about how I was stuck. I was doubting myself, even though I knew that I could. I still knew my capacity. In fact, my capacity was growing. I was other than engineering knowledge fading, which is, I was asked by my old mentor right as I was leaving the hotel before hitting the streets. He asked me what was the last time I did engineering. I didn't expect that he meant, when did you leave Corning? Or when did you get fired from Corning? Because of the drugs I was on for the misdiagnosis of being bipolar. I'm not bipolar. I'm perfectly fine now. Now that I'm not on those drugs. I was fucked up when I was on the drugs, but I'm perfectly fine now. I imagine he didn't want something that stupid. I think what he was asking was, when was the last time did you really actually do engineering? Now, this is somebody who supervised me in the mid-90s and pulled me into as the first person in his new group to develop that whole new technology. And when I left my production supervisor job in '99, and was with him until the reduction in force happened, where the crash, the dot-com crash, happened in 02, 03, when I went up to Maryland, worked for RCI. So I guess I figured that's the question he was asking, and so I answered. I said, engineering-wise, I think probably about when I was working for you on Eagle, the mid-90s. And he just, okay. I mean, he knew that the engineering was not my skill set. He probably knew it like way before I did. I didn't realize until within the last 10 years that my skills were. I'm a people person. The narcissist always told me, because I don't look people in the eye. I'm looking all over. I don't look people in the eye, and I don't shake hands, right? I don't look in the eye when I shake hands, and because I don't remember people's names, my memory sucks. All these little things. You're just not a people person, I got told my whole life. Well, the vulnerable narcissist mother had it exactly wrong. I am a people person. It is my empathetic nature and combined with the engineering nature that just like drives me to want to get let me use the cash points or something. I don't know. But it drives me to understand people, to like really fucking understand people, like understand them at levels that I didn't realize weren't typical. It's what let me build teams that just work together, and had fun. It's what let me take over RCI after a coup and get all the praise I did up there for years, till the owners died and the company had to shut down. But yeah, that memory's faded, you know. But everything else, as far as who I am, boy, I know that more than ever. Law, wow, do I know that more? I have half a law degree now. If I had to do it again, I would be a lawyer, civil rights lawyer specifically. There's not nearly enough of those to deal with people like my brother and his brethren. Fucking with me so much. But yeah, the people person side of me, it got even better. The use of the Socratic method, which that same mentor is the one who taught me by using it on me a few times without me knowing it. And the second time, I guess 2 times. The second time, I was like, when he's pulling information out of me that I couldn't pull out of my own head. You know, I knew the answer, and I knew the answer, and he would just start asking me question after question after question. Sometimes for, you know, little sessions for a couple of weeks, walk and talks and all kinds of things like that. He was big on that, and I love those now. I love walking and talking instead of being in a room. That's how you get to know people. That's how you get people to know themselves. That's the key. They come up with the answers. He taught me that. He said, "You're doing something. What are you doing? You're doing something." I think I said, what is it? What are you doing? And I'm an engineer and always been involved in science, and science is philosophy. Science is a version of philosophy, branch of philosophy. And I didn't know what the Socratic method was. But all those things, man, I've gotten so much stronger, so much more capacity. Now, what can I do with it now? I've got 5 years of my work history. Nobody's going to hire me right into an ops management position or something like that, unless they meet me and have a position, and it's going to be and. You know, because once I start talking to somebody about their operation, it's over. I have a real good chance at the job, but just getting to that point now is almost impossible. So back to, I knew all of these things about myself. I knew how I was growing. I knew how I was withering, physically, definitely withering. During that time, I was very sedentary. I went from being the most sedentary I've ever been for 4 years and forced into being the most active I've ever been, lugging backpacks and bedrolls and things like that. Can't see if I'm seeing. That's my little camp for the night. Normally I'm over there. There's a car there tonight, which I've never seen before. But, nobody bothers me here, which is great. And I get to hear the frogs sing and all that kind of stuff at night. Frogs trying to fuck. That's what that is. Frogs trying to fuck. Having a little orgy down there around the pond. It's really, really awesome, actually. Particularly at Greenfield Lake, but that's another story. Nobody, no friends. I knew what I needed. I knew what I needed to get out of this. Stop challenging everything in my own head, checking things 4 or 5 times before I send a message out. Even the chaotic-looking messages that went back and forth with the whole cop, corrupt cop bullshit with my brother and his agency. What I did check was the facts. I did not stifle myself, like he used to say, but I didn't throttle myself as far as the emotion that was coming out, that banging it out, that sometimes I left in all the typos and shit like that, just so they could see how fucking pissed off I was at them doing what they were doing to me. My jaw's tightening up right now. You can feel it already. Kim, I hope you realize this is for you now, by the way. This is going to you. I'm going to send you links of this because you're going to get the download, and you're going to be responsible for taking this to everybody in the family and friends and telling them that I'm fucking sane. I'm fucking sober, and I'm fucking homeless, and I'm penniless because of the fucked up head job that Nancy and Dave and Dave's brethren did to me. But finally, right before, I knew what I needed. What I needed was somebody to understand, just for somebody else other than me to be the one saying, yeah, you're completely sane. That's really fucked up. That's really fucked up. I can't believe they did it. They did all that shit. All of that shit. They did all that, really. I mean, the most I got out of people was when I showed them Dave's obstructing text messages. Like, he sent that? Your brother, cop, sent things like, stop harassing me, especially at my place of employment, and what do I need to do to get you to leave my job benefits and shit like that. I mean, people that don't know the law at all. I mean, a 10-year-old child knows what it's like to obstruct something, to obstruct, somebody telling on somebody else. They'll tackle the fucking kid if they need to, right? Don't do that. They know what it's like. Playground rules. Catch things like that. And my brother, the cop, got away with it. Now, well, it's not over. It's not over. I'm a little busy these days trying to survive. Literally. My life is survival right now. My life is survival. I'm trying to get a job. Now that my head's more clear. Not more clear. It was clear. It's unlocked. But back then, I knew what I needed. I knew what I needed. I was asking any so-called friend that happened to come into my life for a little while to just let me download some stuff to them. Let me go over some stuff and just check me. Make sure that I'm not the insane one here. Make sure that I'm not the wrong one. That's what people do. That's what scientists do. That's what engineers do. That's what anyone based in logic and reason does, to make sure that they're not fucked up. It's like the anti-Dunning-Kruger thing. Look it up. If you don't know what that is, Dunning-Kruger, Dunning-Kruger-K-R-U-G-E-R. It's what you do to keep yourself out of that. You question yourself, but you don't question yourself constantly. You don't make yourself impotent frozen, stuck. There's all kinds of different words I was using through the years. But I was stuck until this one friend, I'll say his name, Donovan, a brand new friend at the time, met through somebody else, but she and I kind of clicked. And within the first week of meeting him, he came over and he went through some shit with his family too. It involved the law also, in a different way. So he was interested in that. He was interested in how to argue, not fight, argue, how to make points, how to sell points, all that kind of stuff. So we were clicking from that standpoint. I said, okay, well, if you could handle this discussion, because it got pretty heated. We both liked it. Kind of like me and my dad fighting, arguing, getting in each other's shit after dinner when I come home from college. They were so fun. And it's like, yeah. Somebody say you have ice cream? And Nancy would be like, hey, you guys are weird. No, we're play fighting. That's what that was. It wasn't even my point I was arguing half the time. It's just the opposite point. That's even a stronger. If you can argue the opposite point, even if you don't agree with it, then that's a real strength. Come. Let me show you some of this shit that's going on. Let me tell you what's got me in my current position, because he was homeless at the time, staying at the rescue mission down a couple blocks away, and young guy, like 27, I think, at the time, and this was about a year ago. No, not a year ago. It was earlier this year. Early this year, maybe March, something like that. I started telling him, and he first, as it got deeper and deeper, it's like, you're holding on to all this stuff, you just need to let it go, just pay at your play night. He was doing all the same stuff that Dave and everybody else were doing. Can't you just play nice? It's your family. You're going to lose your family, man. How can't you just, suck it up? And I pushed back harder than I've ever pushed back. I'm like, no, you're doing just what they... And we got at it, we were fight arguing, and then all of a sudden I'm like, listen to this, let them, and I put on some of the recordings of where I was interrogating the cops. They thought they were interrogating me, but I was interrogating them. If they didn't know that, I mean, I know that dumbass, but the most honest of them, the dumbass Mike Unley, I mean, he just walked, even Bob Hassan was walking into a bunch of traps I was setting for him. But Mike Unley, he just, I could throw, it's like slow pitch after slow pitch. He just bobbed, there were some lines he didn't cross, but there he gave me so much information, including saying how wrong it was and how he couldn't believe that the prosecutors never took it anywhere, and how strong the case was that I made my municipal complaints, criminal complaints against Dave, and blah, 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 blah. It's all in recordings. I started playing some of those recordings, and Donovan was like, oh my God. After I played the first one, I'm like, I forget which one it was. It was just whatever I had. The first folder I opened, I just started going through some of the clips. And, yeah, Kim, you can hear all these things, Kim. You can hear them too. But nobody wants to, apparently. Because they're damning. They are damning. It is Criminal Dave. That's it. Criminal Dave. And criminal all his friends. Little buddies. Buddies in blue. Back to blue. Back to blue into a fucking wall and shoot their brains out. Which I would never do, but boy, the thought is really fucking good right now. There's no one that is not a rotten apple, a bad apple. if they're in the bunch with the rest and they're not screaming, this needs to stop, if they are not working actively from the inside, actively, vocally, so all of us can see it, then they are a rotten apple too. Duh. You cannot be a good apple in a bushel of rotten ones. It's called the rotten orchard, is what it's called. There's a term for it that came from the Department of Justice, some report, some cops report, which is I forget what the acronym stands for, but yeah, from inside, it's called the rotten orchard concept. This is not new stuff. It's just that Edgewater Park in Burlington County are fucked. After you listen to the first one, whoa, the instant 180 from why can't you just get along, go along, play nice, all that kind of stuff I've been being told, being asked, or whatever for so long. He did a 180. This is somebody who doesn't know the law, like I did by that point, but for sure. He just knows it's wrong. Again, playground rules. 10-year-olds. 10-year-olds know this shit. 10-year-olds know this shit. And practice it every day. Well, they don't let kids play on the playground and develop their own rules and all that kind of stuff now, because parents are all fucked in the head and don't let kids go out and like fall down and get hurt and stuff anymore. They don't let them eat dirt, and Amy, Dave's wife, won't let them touch the bottoms of their shoes. Jesus Christ. I never get sick. I never, once I stopped smoking, I used to get bronchitis. I never get sick. As much as I've done to myself, as many drugs as I've done, as badly as I've treated myself, as much drinking as I've done in the past, I never get sick. Well, the bipolar meds had me down 2 weeks out of the year, most years, in blackout conditions. Just, I mean, I was so fucked on those drugs, it wasn't even funny, because I'm not bipolar. I don't know why that took me so long to get off of those things. I was questioning, but I was told, oh, you're just going to have to deal with it. It's your life now. That's what I was told by the doctors. Fuck the doctors. But Donovan did a 180, and he started asking for more. What else you got? Oh, you want more? Okay. I just started playing. We ran out of time that night, but he could not believe the stuff that he was hearing. Just simple, like, well, that shouldn't be sort of bullshit. Well, yeah, I know it shouldn't be. That's the whole point. So do you get it now? Do you get why I'm not getting along, going along to get along, or whatever it's, play nice? Yeah, I do. That's all that took. He unlocked that stuck brain of mine. Just in time for me to be homeless. I mean, literally, I was packing my stuff up in the time period that, in fact, I was overdue to get out of the house. Packing my stuff up to go to the hotel that Mark, my friend and landlord of 15 years, well, landlord of 15 years, friend since 1996, who was my next door neighbor, who bought the two houses that were built together at the same time. I was staying in his house for 15 years. He felt bad, and he didn't want me to go to the streets, so he got me a hotel for a month. It didn't help. I mean, it helped. It was a transition, and it allowed my brain to settle into the fact that it was unstuck. But now it was stuck in a different way. It was like, well, now what do I do? Well, I'm homeless. Now what? In fact, I think that's going to be the title of a book. Well, I'm homeless. Now what? I'm documenting this with other videos, and I need to get a YouTube channel up for that, for this purpose, which this will get posted to, along with some of the others, and I'm going to start documenting this transition to getting temp jobs and then jobs and whatever. And temp jobs should come this week. But still, it's going to take a long time to get actual housing. And I can stumble into somebody being willing to, let me be their roommate or whatever, like I used to do. I spent the last 4 years giving people chances, and I ended up getting fucked over by them over and over again. I have a friend who had the same things kind of happen to him, and when this happened to me, he was a new friend at the time, stepped up where others ran away. All the people that I helped. I don't do things to get help in return. I didn't ever expect to need this kind of help. But, those people are still around, and they know that you help them, and you're in a bad situation, and they're like, oh, no, sorry, can't help you. Yeah, you can. You're just not. And that really fucking sucks. It really sucks. But, my friend stepped up, and my new friend stepped up. Didn't meet him, met him through somebody else. Didn't meet him until I was in. I just got into the hotel at the beginning of that month, I think. And we became friends, and it was like 3 days before sorry guys. Yep. 2 or 3 days before I was gonna have to leave the hotel and actually hit the streets. He's like, what are you gonna do? I said, I have no idea. I said, I gotta find resources. I don't know, call DHHS or housing authority, or where. I didn't know where to start. And he's like yelling this at me. What the hell? You need to do something now. Well, he was right. He is screaming at me, but it was what I needed at the time. It's like, wake the fuck up. Get on the phone now. Call DHHS now. And just tell the first person you talk to what your situation is. And let them tell you where to go. Health and Human Services, the county group. Well, the person who answered the phone was TR, who actually lend you through Facebook, which I don't use. TR is an advocate in the lesbian and gay community, and happened to be, actually, TR didn't answer the phone the first time. Somebody said your best bet is to contact the street, it's called the Getting Home Street Outreach Program, because they will get back to you very quickly. And that's what I needed. So I did. And TR was on call for answering the phones or whatever. And this was, I think, a Friday. I was going to the streets on Saturday or Sunday, I think. And Monday he set up an intake meeting for us. It ended up being bumped to Tuesday, so I had a couple of days on the streets, but without any kind of guidance or anything like that. But he had a medical issue at home with his ailing mother or whatever. The street outreach program is unlike anything I've ever heard about in government before. It's the exact opposite of what you think a government program is. it's not the same for everybody. They don't actually provide, well, they do provide services. They don't, like, you don't go to them to get housing. You go to them to find out what you need to do to get housing. And they provide transportation to and from any of the meals and shelters and places that you can shower and do laundry and just exist, like the library, or they'll take you to doctor's appointments. They'll take you to the work program places. They have all the different places you never know existed, like whole churches that have whole basements that are just donations out of it. They're like mini. This one, what I'm thinking of is like a full Goodwill store, except it's all free. It's all free. A lot of the stuff is new, and there's a lot of stuff like supplies and deodorant and soaps and rain ponchos and a blue blanket and camping foam mat thing here that I'm sleeping on came from that church. The day shelter, the backpack I just got there the other day, the backpack that TR got me a couple months ago was not working for all kinds of reasons, and found out the day shelter I go to a few days a week, Living Hope, they had that. Apparently they have tents, which I don't think I'm interested in, and sleeping bags and stuff like that. But they apparently have batteries and just all kinds of stuff like this. That if it weren't for having a social worker tied to you, they're yours. TR is mine. There's 4 of them. He gets most of the LGBT clients. It's not exclusive one way or the other, but he gets most of them. And then another one gets most of the people that hang out downtown, and another one gets families, and another one, I forget, I don't know if it's women or something, I don't know, but they have themselves loosely broken up into the clientele that they most know, and they deal with the clientele like as the clients need it. They will provide, as long as you're willing to do the work, they will do what they need to do to help you do it. It's like a concierge service for homeless people. What I didn't know, because I was stuck from my family, Kim. Not that you did it, but you knew it was happening. You could not know that it was happening. Fucked upness, stuck in the head thing, frozen for years, thanks to my family. I never thought to reach out and go, okay, well, how do I not be homeless? How do I not become homeless? Well, they do that, well, we could have maybe helped eliminate it. There's all these different grant programs for helping you pay different things. Sometimes they're one-shot things. Sometimes there's so much stuff. I had no idea, because essentially, like, I don't know what would have happened. Kim and family, if Donovan hadn't shown up when he did, and been willing to listen through, to give me the gift, I guess you could say, of the thing that I had been telling everybody that I needed, which was, I need to know, I need somebody else to tell me that they see what I see, that it is really real, and that they don't need to know the law. It's that blatant fucking obvious. blatant and fucking obvious. It's that in your face that I've been fucked over by my family and law enforcement in such an obvious way. That's what I needed, because nothing made sense. I couldn't go out into the world with up equals down, left equals right, black equals white, you know, all that kind of stuff. I couldn't do that. I mean, I couldn't make myself do it. That was probably, I could, because what am I going to do? Trust somebody? What am I going to do? Trust somebody like law enforcement or somebody like the mother I'd had no issue with in my whole life, or every family and family friend that now won't pick up the phone or call me back. My fucking godmother, for God's sake. I've been getting a card from every birthday and her calligraphy and all that kind of stuff. Every single year, she'd call and ask where, you know, where's Bernie? Has his address changed? All that kind of stuff. She'd make sure. My mother told me this. Nobody would. I don't know what got said up there. I know some of the things said. I don't know what got said that was so bad that nobody would pick up the phone. Or is it just everybody scared to take any side that isn't that of a narcissist? It's not that of a vulnerable narcissist. Look it the fuck up. I didn't know that until a year after I ceased contact with her. Until after the restraining order was in and all that kind of shit. I didn't know she was a narcissist until something. I was listening to something about highly empathetic people, and I started like a little YouTube queue of it, and I was playing in the background as I was cleaning. Well, I picked up something about, I don't like the term, but empaths, super empathetic people, how they are a narcissist, like worst nightmare. I didn't know that's what I added something like that to the queue. I picked up something about vulnerable narcissism, wrongly called covert, even by this doctor, who's one of the leading people in it now. They were struggling with the naming of it, but it's vulnerable narcissism. It can display in overt or covert ways, and that confuses the matter. It was called covert for so long that even I think the doctors kind of just were going along to get along or whatever. I didn't know that it picked that up on its own. And my things had run out, and it picked up Dr. Ramani, one of her videos, and I was hearing things like, do you realize how much we've sacrificed to put a roof over your head? And a whole bunch of stuff like that. I was thinking, why do I keep who's using all these sayings that my mother used, so, you know, still uses a lot of them, but they used all through my childhood. All these different things, right? So I was like, fuck it. I stopped cleaning and whatever. I'm like, what's this video? I was in the bedroom. Covert narcissist is what it said. It was one of the videos in a 3-video series about it. And I rewound it and played it. Basically, it was like, I missed the intro part of it because what got my ear was all the familiar sayings. If you have heard any of these things as a child, you were robbed. And she goes on to talk about how, you brought a child into the world, pretty much like, you know, an orphanage will give you a roof over your head. People will sacrifice theirs to get a roof over your head. The government's required to put, you know, these are absolute minimum requirements. And narcissists, vulnerable narcissists particularly, we'll talk about how bad things were for them and how they never had a chance and how you got everything, and if I only had what you had, I could have been, so much better, and blah 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 blah. And I watched a couple more things. I read a little bit. I was like, my whole life zippered back, and everything made sense. Steve's one too. He's more overt. It sucks. He's a little bit more like the neurotic, more neurotic than Nancy is. But the two of them were at each other because they're both narcissists. That's why I got a paper route at 11 and got the fuck out of the house. I didn't know that then. I just knew being around the house. I was getting money, and I was out of the house. 2.5 mile paper route, 50 some papers or something like that, hanging off my side every day, from 11 to 16 when I went to work at McDonald's, was better than being in that house and being around the two of them going at each other, because they're both narcissists. Steve always talked about how she had an evil side that nobody saw. Well, you know what? I see it now, and it got me bad. I just always tried to stay out of it. I knew that there were things that you didn't tell her. Because just, why worry her? All she does is worry with like, if you're worrying about something and you're doing something about it, it's one thing. But she just worries, and she wants you to worry, even if you're not worried about something. Yeah, like she tells you not to worry about some stuff you can't do anything about. That's her job. That's what she sees her job as her job. She sees worrying as an activity for her. But that's because she's a narcissist, and there's here's another good one. There should be a law until Nancy is subject to a law that she doesn't want to be subject to. Then there's no possible reason whatsoever for that. The thing that got Steve in trouble that we talk about. She couldn't just say to us when we were kids, you should be lucky that your dad is home with you guys all the time, every night, basically, which we were. Because there are a lot of kids that aren't that lucky. She couldn't do that. It was always, he could be like Greg and going to the pull-out club and getting drunk and getting in fights and getting his nose broke and then blah blah blah. She always had to vilify somebody else to make her situation look better. I talked to Donna when she finally called and what the fuck is your brother saying about you? The only person to do it, the only person to contact me. She knows me better than my family does. I had just realized the narcissism thing not too long before that, and I was telling her about it. She's a smart girl, woman, I guess, girl. She's a fucking girl, smart cookie. I said, yeah. I'm like, I think I said that example to her. I also said, she could never, like, if she talks about somebody else getting the type of car that she got, or whatever, or an SUV, or whatever it is, she can't just be happy for them, too. She's always got to say things like, but mine's got the extra 3 buttons in the back. And like when I said that, it's like, oh my God, you're right. She does do that all the time. She's always got to one-up herself by putting somebody else down. But there doesn't have the 3 extra buttons in the back like mine does. Like, it's that kind of stuff that is vulnerable narcissism. That is, I mean, there's a lot more to it than that. But these are just things that, like, when I saw what vulnerable narcissism was, my world started like flying through my head, going, what the fuck? Well, too late for it, but I know now that I did everything wrong with her. I did everything wrong. You don't go at a narcissist with facts. You don't call them out on their shit. I've been doing that since I was a kid. I've been calling her out on her hypocrisy since I was a kid. I mean, I picked up a lot of her narcissistic traits. I'm not a narcissist, but I picked up a lot of her narcissistic behaviors, like needing to vilify somebody right then, just whether they did it or not, do it publicly. It's just the entitlement, you know, all that kind of stuff. I spent the first 10 years of my career shedding that stuff. I took help from my supervisors at my request, and with one behavior in particular to try to get rid of. It was called asshole Bernie. There was a name for it. Yeah, I'm trying. I've worked on a lot, but I can't get rid of this one. And help was offered, and guess what? I don't do that anymore. I don't even think about doing that anymore. First thing I think about now is what other explanations could there be for this thing that just for some reason just pissed me off, or me, or whatever. You know, could there be another explanation for it? Well, yeah, there's usually a gazillion of them, right? You don't have to blame for everything, but narcissists do. They'll get drunk. He's a malignant narcissist, but yeah, that's a different story. I knew about those, like Hitler and a lot of dictators and things were malignant narcissists, cult leaders, malignant narcissists, a lot of them. Trump's a cult leader, so I don't know where this is going, but yeah, I don't know what I would have done if my head was still locked like it was when Donovan helped me free it. It took me 4 years, 3 years, something like that, to get somebody, supposed friends, not telling them I need this. I should be doing something with my life. I know that, but I need this to be unlocked. I mean, I was teaching myself audio production. I wanted to, I was calling it music to her. I was practicing on music. I was teaching myself on music, but what I was really thinking of is doing like sound effects and cinema and commercials and wherever else. The walking on sticks or whatever. They don't do that stuff like they used to, but like banging chickens against the wall for thud sounds. I mean, there's different ways of making that stuff now, and that's what I was thinking of. But after restarting posing, I couldn't get enough of that stuff. I mean, that was my crack. I was working 16 hours a day, sitting in my spot. I couldn't get enough of it. It was happening. It was burning so fast. And then that's when I paused to try to figure out what the fuck is up with Nancy? Like, why is she bringing all this hate to me? Why is she believing all these lies, these obvious on her face lies? Like, none of this stuff. You know, she's talking about stuff that's like against the Constitution, and she's making it sound like it's a good thing. Where is she getting all this stuff? I went down that rabbit hole, and boy, once I got into it, I couldn't stop because it was so bad. Once I saw where she was getting her information and how she was getting it, the Tucker Carlson, like, they got almost like Stewie on Family Guy, those hypno glasses where he's like, and doing his thing, and she's sitting there isolated, in her chair, which she denied at one point, which is fucked up. Isolated, not smart, not worldly, not logical, she's the ultimate receptor for somebody going, I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions. I'm just, like she does, the hypothetical. Well, then why did I see pens in the hands of the people, like, checking ballots? How much more explanation does she need than their job is to mark the envelopes to see, to check the envelopes to see if there's any discrepancy. That's their job. They're there to identify whether there's something missing and document what the missing thing is. Why is it pens there? Because they're doing their job. Well, why was it only Democrats then? It wasn't only Democrats. Well, how come they couldn't get, how come they couldn't observe, blah, 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 blah. Except they did. They did. They didn't. They weren't allowed to get as close. None of them were allowed to get as close, as they wanted. But people have to do their jobs. Crap. And the whole ballots being pulled out from under tables and things like that. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, that's because Rudy Giuliani knowingly took a clip, a 15-second clip or something like that, from a much larger video that was broadcast. I was telling her, I said, these things were simulcast, were broadcast on the web. They were webcasted. You could see everything. You can see everything in these places, and especially in the big cities. Well, when you see the whole video, which people on Earth 1 actually took the time to see, there's no there there. That's the thing. That's what the Fox people all knew. They knew it was batshit crazy, but they were getting their money, and they were supporting Trump. So that's what they were going to do. They were going to lie. They were going to just ask questions. I'm just asking questions, and then let that person who they knew was lying through their teeth come on, and vilify people, defame people like Smartmatic and the website that was one was why can't I think of the name? Whoever. I can't believe I can't think of it. But whoever that other whoever the actual voting machine company was, Smartmatic software. But yeah, they vilified these people, and that's why they lost $800 billion in a settlement. It didn't even go to trial because Fox turned over all the text messages and everything, and then the company's lawyers put it out, and it's available. It's available. In fact, I have a video of the Midas Touch channel back then, when they were just getting started. Just to make sure there was no spin, they read the entire filing from whatever that company. It's killing me. I can't think of the name. But they read the entire filing from the lawyers. This is all that we got from Fox, Judge. All these things, they all knew it. They were all laughing about it, but they let people go on the air anyway. And once they did that, that's what Fox settled right away. So, yeah. So I went down that path, and then that's what ended up breaking us up. I tried, but you don't do that with a narcissist. You do not come at a narcissist with facts. Kim, the more confident I was that I could show her that what she was being told was a lie, the more she resisted even entertaining seeing it. One thing in particular I'm thinking of was I eventually found a bunch of stuff about where she got all of her Hunter Biden stuff. And yes, there was some weird stuff that went around. You know, the FBI was more dismissive than they should have been about it. It was really his laptop. Yes, it was really his laptop. And there was really damning shit on there about him. About him. Not about Joe. Him and his pictures, which have now become public, and his crack addiction, and I think sleeping with his dead brother's old wife. There's a lot of really, really bad stuff. It doesn't sound like he's such a great guy, or the one who died apparently was really a stand-up guy. Bo Biden, I think, was a real stand-up guy. Hunter, not so much. But they had all these. I finally found some of the videos from Fox about it. This is me looking backwards now. Try to find out where she gotten all her bullshit. It was obviously just bullshit. I mean, I know Joe Biden wasn't in bed with his son doing shit in Ukraine. Blah blah. I mean, it's just too bizarre. Trump does that stuff. Biden doesn't. And Trump's a narcissist, so he projects it out to other people what he's doing. If Trump says something about someone else, he's likely doing that thing. Just watch the pattern. Yeah, I was seeing things like an email. Ooh, it's about his dad. It's to like the people that, you know, manage his office building, or the building his office is in, and wanting keys for, he wanted keys for his parents for when they visit or something like that. And that was supposed proof that there was nefarious stuff going on, and that Joe knew, blah 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 blah. Well, you look at the date on the email. Now this email would be, the actual email would be on the back behind somebody like Tucker or Hannity. And they're vilifying Joe for, God, he knew he was in bed with no, nothing about the email said anything other than like, get keys for the guy, because, you know, they come sometimes, and whatever. It's not anything crazy. But as Fox is spinning it up into this whole, like, this and stuff, you look at the date. Joe was out of the vice presidency already at that time, and he had already said, I'm not running again. I'm not running because he was I don't know if he had already lost his favorite son, Bo, by that point, or he was about to, but he just had not been in politics for so long, and that death really killed him. It wasn't until Trump ran his reign of terror that during the first term that Biden, I need to do something about this. Thankfully, but yeah, it was a bunch of stuff like that, and Tucker's going, oh no, he's asking questions. He does that head tilt thing, bullshit. Well, Nancy's sitting there by herself. No, Nancy's sitting there by herself. She's the ultimate receptor, and I'm like shaking in my seat, you know, when I'm seeing this stuff, because I'm thinking of that. She doesn't think about things like that kind of stuff in isolation, repeated over and over, drilled into your head. It is brainwashing, and it is cultification. It is that stuff, especially when it's lies. It's lies. So when I would go to her and I'd say, Do you ever remember? Hey, do you ever read the stuff? I understand like read. You ever read the stuff that's on the screen behind the dude that's like raising holy hell about something? You know, because there's all kinds of stuff. It's like, well, the thing behind there says something different. The thing behind there says something different. And I'm not talking about just noticing like the date being like that's something that I pick up on. I'm talking about like really fucking obvious. Like, it doesn't say that back there. It doesn't even say what he's like. He's rah about something that it's not. It doesn't even say. It's like on the screen, so it looks official because nobody reads it. Everybody all on the right, all the MAGA people, they all do their own research. They don't. Fucking obvious too. I mean, it's so obvious. Hey, Trump. This I found was something that was more than what I'm experiencing. I was experiencing more than what I was experiencing with her. I was just falling into the same traps before knowing they were there. But wow, you keep telling me about Trump's wonderful accomplishments. I'm not paying any attention to it. Maybe I'll vote for the dude. No, I wouldn't because he lies like he breathes. But could you tell me some? Give me a couple of them. I'll go, you know. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong about stuff because I'm open to things like that. I'm sure there's something in Trump. I know there have been things that I agree with that he's done. I mean, but I can't think of any of those now because they're not big. But I don't know. Look it up. So she was bringing to me all that anger and hate, blacks and illegals. This coming from the daughter of Sicilian immigrants who literally brought the mafia to our country, and which is a large part still running parts of the cities today. Yeah, bringing the crime. Yeah, her family did it. You know, her family brought the crime. Her family brought the crime. I mean, they literally brought the crime. MS-13 is not running our cities. The mafia is the descendants of the mafia, or whatever they call it. I don't know what they call themselves, but apparently, like, all the research I did back then said, yeah, that's still ingrained in places like Chicago and things like that. But that was the big pause in my. I mean, once I got into that stuff and I realized how cultified she was and everything, and I did everything wrong for a narcissist. I was more facts, more explanations. She's gonna see eventually. I mean, she's gotta see. I mean, she's being. It's not just a matter of convincing her that, you know, her opinion is right. No, I don't care about her opinions. I did, but what I do care that they're based in fact. And I would think that anybody would care that for anybody. The more I told her something was going to show her that she'd been lied to, the more she would refuse, the more vehemently she would refuse to entertain even looking at it. No, don't bother. I'm not going to look at it. Don't bother. What kind of person as an engineer's son that's been the good one, the one that you can trust? And she was saying it right up to before we had this problem. Never did anything to her my whole life. I've always been pointing her to the truth. If I told her something and then 3 years later I realized I was wrong, I would make a point of calling her and saying, hey, that thing I told you way back when, you know, I was wrong there. That's really something else. She'd be like, why are you calling me about it? Because I told you something that was wrong, and I don't want you telling other people it was wrong. I want you to know what the truth is. Like, that's called integrity. That's called integrity. Who doesn't operate like that? Who wants to say stuck in our and the lies that build the view of the world you want, or support a decision you made, like to back a candidate. Can't be wrong. Narcissists can't be wrong. I can be wrong. When I'm wrong, when someone shows me I'm wrong, like really shows me that I'm wrong, that's something. My legit response is like, wow, cool. I didn't know that. Thanks. Wow, I really thought it was another thing. I appreciate you let me know that, or pushing it, or going through an argument, like debate about something to make me see, wow, like I learned something when I'm wrong. When I'm right, I teach, and I like teaching, but I love learning even more. So as long as it's not hurting anybody, I don't like being wrong, but I like situations in which I'm shown to be wrong because I learned something, and it usually spurs me to go look into that subject more, which means I learn even more. Because hey, if I miss this about that, maybe learn all. That's what I do. That's not what narcissists do. He's a narcissist. And by the way, right after I learned that, Carol called me back, or called me by accident. Somehow, I just got off the phone from my second conversation with Bob Hess. It was like 2 or 3 hours. He called me. Just out of the blue, he called me. We ended up in like a 3-hour conversation or something like that, in which he committed crimes and all kinds of other stuff. Recorded. Most of it's recorded. I didn't think to hit record because it was impromptu. I wasn't set up for the call, but I eventually recorded most of it. Carol called me back. Like, Carol, you guys need to know something up there. I said, by this point I realized it was too late for me. It's too late for me, but I recently just learned that Nancy and Nancy could end up hurting other people if she is unstopped, because she is something that I didn't know existed. It is called a vulnerable narcissist. Well, Carol, who normally goes, oh, burn, and stop. She'll do that. She does that all the time. It's just Carol. Oh, your mother's not stupid. Oh, yeah, she is, Carol. Oh, your mother's not fat. Yeah, she is, Carol. Yeah. It's okay to say these things because we know them. She did not have that reaction. She went, Vern, you gotta just stay away. Which is the right thing to do with a narcissist. Which is the right thing. Just leave. If I had known, just leave without even trying all this bullshit, you make things worse for yourself. Because you take their vengeance. They separate you from the family, or whatever group they're in. Trump does it all the time. Watch him. He loves somebody until they say something about him, and then that person's gone, never to be seen again. Basically, does it all the time. I was like, Vern, you need to just stay away. I said, well, yeah, I know that now, Carol. I said, but you guys are still up there. She said, we have to deal with that in our family also. She said, you just need to stay away. It's the only answer. I said, yeah, Carol, I know. So, huh? Carol knows. Carol knows she's a narcissist. Talk to her about it. I tried to get her to call me back after that one. No, it didn't work. She did not. Her whole voice was different. I wish I had that. I wish I still had the recording going from Bob Hess, but I literally just got up. I'm sweating now, but I was a pool of sweat after the Bob Hess conversation, 4-hour conversation. I hadn't had anything to drink. I literally just got up from the couch, and she called for whatever reason. calling me back, I guess. I think I called her and said, I need to talk with you. I need you guys to know something up there about the situation up there. And it's not anything to try to, like, help me. You guys need to know something to help you. She actually did call back, and her tone said everything. And I don't know if it's the same daughter. I don't know if it's the daughter who has the substance abuse issues. I could definitely see that being the case, but it kind of, it depends. Not the same kind of narcissist, but I can see that being the case, just looking at her jobs and things. I don't know if it's her sister. Apparently, her sister was one of the crazy Trump supporting, yahoos. Didn't care if lies were lies or anything like that. So I don't know, but that long period caused me to stop and start. And my memory is horrible. So I had to not relearn everything, but I had to get back into the group and relearn some stuff, and the stuff that I didn't commit to memory, long-term memory yet. I did that like 4 times, and like after the 4th time, but this time, all through all the restraining orders, I tried to restart it for the last time after the restraining order. This is training myself for a new career, by the way. People wondering why I didn't have a job. I was working my ass off. Just at home. During the 4th time, I realized I was just staring at it. Like the inspiration was completely gone. I went from not being able to get enough of it from being my crack to I don't know what I'm doing here anymore. And that's all I'm going to say for now. But Kim, she needs to be stopped. I'm not asking you to do anything to her. I'm asking you to make sure, send this to everybody. Send this to as many people as you want. I'm going to end up posting it. It's going to be on YouTube. I'm going to get this other channel going for the homeless thing. So go ahead, please, send it to people now, because I need fucking help. I'm still planning on taking it out of the hide of my brother and mother in Edgewater Park. The poor people haven't paid for that. And they pay for the corruption that breeds. That's the other funny thing. Dave used to talk about how corrupt Gene was, and I can see that Putz being corrupt, absolutely, and I can see it now in the fingerprint of all he left behind. I tried contacting him. He wanted no parts of that. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Look at all the stuff my brother's doing. Blah, blah, blah. Well, he didn't touch it because he laid all the groundwork for it. So yeah, Gene was corrupt. His wife is corrupt. She was, on the board or the committee, or the township committee. They're all corrupt. That little town is nothing but corrupt. And they fucked me. So yeah, this is going to get posted. So you go ahead and you send it to anyone who you can. Anyone who used to, like, give me the time of day. My aunts, my uncles. People like Carol. Don't. Carol said she blocked me, but she has not specifically asked that I not contact her. So you go ahead and you send it to Carol. You let everybody know that I'm fucking homeless thanks to this. But my head's on straight, but now I have no resources left. It's the homeless part. I need a fucking job. I'm trying to get right now. I'm trying to survive on a day-to-day basis. I'm trying to get food on a day-to-day basis. Really through the kindness of other people, way more than my fucking family. So sorry, my brother. I don't know how my brother ended his life finally. I don't even like to think of him as my brother because of what he did to our family the first time. casting me aside after we were grooving. He was the first brother. First time I had, even though it was a few conversations on the phone, the first time I had a thought, man, maybe I could get along with my brothers. I mean, he and I share the mechanical side of things that the other ones don't, I guess. Which I think that had something to do with the reason I contacted him, something about work or whatever. But, I can't remember. But regardless, we talked several times. And we were grooving, we were laughing, and I said, you know, I was still in Maryland and broke up with Ken by that point. It was like, you know, I think I'm going to try to get tighter to the family than I've been. I feel kind of been too outside of it, whatever. That's what he said. He literally said to me, he said, you might want to hold off on that. Why? What's the matter? Shit's getting ready to hit the fan. And that was like the end of our conversation. His letter was already in the mail to all of us. Dude, oh, spider. Die. Oh, die. Fast fucker. He's dead now. Yeah, we were grooving like we were to the point where it made me say what I said about wanting to get tighter to the family, because this was going well between me and you, right? Maybe it can be. So my dad was still alive and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I've always been tight with Dad, just in our own way. I mean, I have his brain. I'm like more than I've joked about it before, but I know now I've got his fucking brain. We think so much alike. The more I think about the way I think and the way he thinks, and about lies and how obvious it is. When he's only told 2 lies that I could think of. Steve couldn't think of any. One was when he kept telling me I couldn't go down into the basement. When I was a kid, I was a little buddy, you know. But he was always teaching me stuff. And I couldn't go down there because he was doing stuff with his new workbench too. Well, he was, but I couldn't go down there for however, I don't know how many months that was, but found out it was because of my train set. He was building my train set, but he was so obviously lying, like none of it made any sense. Like why couldn't, and I was whining and bitching about why I couldn't be down there with him. And then the other one was when he put Tippy down, the first Tippy, his Tippy, our Tippy. He, of course, said, no, he was getting into all kinds of trouble in the neighborhood and getting hurt. And I remember wrapped up in barbed wire and shit like that. And they took him to a farm where he could run all he wanted and blah, 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 blah. Dad was crying his eyes out. And, like, you know, I remember asking him, like, he had the weirdest looks on his face when he was telling me that. Like, it wasn't him. Like, because he was lying. He can't lie. He's like me. It looks incredibly obvious because we have the same brain. Thank God I got his. Thank God I got his instead of dumbasses. I remember asking him if he's going to be so happy running around like that. Why are you so sad? Why are you crying? One a couple of times in my whole life I've seen him cry. I gotta stop this shit. It's too hot to sleep out here. No, I thought it was going to pour. He said it was going to pour, but it drizzled just enough to make the already humid even more so. And just It's just miserable. There's no way I can sleep. I have an echocardiogram for my heart.
Yeah.
An echocardiogram follow-up. A couple years into it now. In the morning. TR is taking me. My social worker is picking me up at 8:30. Going to that, and he's gonna take me to the day shelter where I can get Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So, and air conditioning and food and all that kind of good stuff. So I can take this to everybody, show them that I'm sane and I need fucking help. Yeah, you got the $26,000. That's not why I'm contacting. That pissed me off. That motivated me to contact you. Yeah. I'm not asking for $26,000. You knew Mike was going to abandon you. You knew it. And you got $26,000 after your bailouts. Amy did her man. You've been bad. She's bailed you out multiple times. Yeah. What about the ones that you got, Kim? What about the bailouts you got? I just got fucked by my family. I'm going to text you my phone number. I'm not going to put it in here. My phone got turned off the first time since 1990s when I got a phone for the first time. Turned off about a week ago. I'm struggling to try to get money somehow, some way, selling stuff, whatever. I don't have much left to sell, and it's not going fast. I need to get it turned back on, so I'm not slave to Wi-Fi, so I can get a job. It's all survival. It's all survival. And we're talking like $75 fucking or something like that. 150 to come up to actual, current $75 back in arrears. Yeah. That's what's keeping me from having cell phone service right now. That's what my life's become, thanks to the family. Do something about it.